everything wrong with Fairy Tail and what it got right. Now, before we even start the video, man, I'm gonna talk right now. Fairy Tail is my favorite anime for me. So when I see this, just know I ain't holding back, okay? I'ma really get into it.
It was one of those shows you either hated with every ounce of your being or thought was mid at best, but that's alright. Personally, I was sold with the introduction of Sasuke, aka Iceman. He rounds out the group dynamic. Regardless of if you liked the show or not, I think we can all agree here, especially since most of us aren't 14 anymore, that there was a lot wrong with Fairy Tail over the years. From the pointless 30-episode filler arcs where nothing interesting happens to the joke of a final season.
It's a filler arc. That's what's supposed to happen. What the fuck? He's already just chatting. He just chatting this point. It's a filler arc.
Let this video be a look into everything Fairy Tail did wrong and what it might have got right. If we're gonna talk about this show, first we need to split the 300 episode run up just a little bit. Luckily, that's done for us. Fairy Tail released in 3 parts, the first run of the show beginning in 2009 and stopping in 2013, just to be picked up the next year to run till 2016, just to be picked up again in 2018, which, boy, wait till we get there. I do want to go through some key points in this first section that is vital to your understanding of where Fairy Tail went awry. Now, part 1 is made up of 15 arcs, that of which only half actually have purpose in the story. Of that half that is considered meaningful, another half is probably considered watchable. We have some old friends from the past that come back as evil dudes that want to destroy the world. This actually happens twice on separate occasions. Little Graham's grandson, Electro, turns out to be a major donkey ass, but after getting his cheeks clapped, he suddenly has a change of heart. There's also this dude, he's somebody's dad from the future, if I remember right, or something along that line. He's important, I think. There's also this time that the main group goes missing for like, I think, several years. This is actually a pretty common theme. There's more time gaps in this show than a schizophrenic suffering major psychosis.
Bro, there's one time skip in the whole entire show. No, there's 2, my fault. There's 2 time skips. One is a 7-year and one for the final season. That's it. What do you mean? That ain't even too much. And the other one was only a 2 to 1 year time skip.
Being said, part 1 of Fairy Tail doesn't have as major problems as what is to come later.
Wait, hold on. The first one wasn't even really a time skip because they were just in stasis. For the other people got time lapse, but the main cast didn't get time lapse because they were stuck in a place with no time.
Down the line, but what is a standout throughout the entire run of the series is the lack of pacing. That is a major turnoff for anyone over the age of 12 or 14. I put up with it till then. In terms of story mechanical problems, a big no-no is how far O Great Mashima took the power of friendship. Let me tell you, lads,
oh my gosh, everyone complains about this, bro. Let me tell you something, bro. I know I love Fairy Tail, right? But I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it a buck. If there's something bad about it, I'm gonna say it's bad. I'm gonna keep it a buck, right? Power of friendship. People only get on Fairy Tail for the power of friendship because it does it the best out of every other anime, right? Dragon Ball has the power of friendship. Naruto has the power of friendship. One Piece has the power. Oh, a lot of animes have the power of friendship. Fairy Tail just plain out says it and does it better than other animes. And if you're only turned off of the anime, it's because it's power of friendship. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It doesn't kill the show. It kills the show at some moments, but it's not really a main factor of why it's bad, in my opinion. It's not bad. It's not bad. It's great.
This is no Luffy, Naruto level shit. This is Super Saiyan level friendship I'm talking about. The amount of times the group is at an extreme capability difference and while on the verge of death, something just ignites a flame within them. Literally. Friendship has always been a powerful construct in the world of shonen, but this is a bit much. Last time I checked, being fueled by friendship shouldn't make up for a skill issue. Of course, shonen really likes to hit home the power of friendship to all the little goobers that watch this stuff. I mean, they sold me on that topic a long time ago. Something that doesn't get a pass, though, is their handling of fight scenes, a concept of shonen action anime that is sink or swim when it comes to success. If these suck, you're fucking cooked. Our friends at A1 do tread the line here, and this becomes a downward spiral later on. It's very apparent in the show which parts the production team cared about and which they'd rather have erased from existence if the big wigs weren't watching their every move. Some fights will be created with a delicate touch of God shining through, animation rivaling any other shonen up to the 2020s. But then there's times where we just get one still frame zooming in and out while Natsu announces Fire Dragon's Iron Fist.
Okay, now to be fair, he has a point. He has a point. There is some times where it's lackluster, where they're doing a slideshow. You feel me? But once again, that's Hunter x Hunter, for example. People love Hunter x Hunter, right? Hunter x Hunter does the same thing in some of their fights. Except for Gon versus Shogun, except for Gon versus P2, and except for the Killua versus the Red Goblin dude. I forgot his name. They have slideshows. But I don't think this is really a turn off for the anime because it doesn't do it enough for me to be like, it's just a slideshow. It doesn't happen. But I mean,
for the 100th time, you can see why this may get problematic. Now, arriving at the 2014 Fairy Tail release, we have 102 episodes covering 5 arcs. One that's a prequel to everything we've talked about earlier, and 2 that are important. Group 2 finishes off the Fairy Tail Wizard take on the ever-popular shonen trope of tournament arcs, most of which took place at the end of the first grouping, but carries over into the second with some wildly elaborate plot elements happening that I have not the time or concise details to explain right now. This is followed by 2 filler arcs that I felt unconscious trying to watch as a wee lad, and then we enter into one of the best arcs.
Why are you watching the filler arcs? That's like trying to watch 32
episodes, 10 of which do not have to exist per usual. It expands on some elements that come into play later on in the final part.
This arc is fire.
There's nothing really to write home about here besides the sheer pointlessness of this 32 episode filler arc that had me slamming my head against the wall. But this part 3, well, words can't.
Why are you watching the filler? I don't understand. If you think the filler is trash, just don't watch it. It's filler. It's not in the manga.
I can't really explain how disappointed I was when this came out. Ultimately, the sole reason for making this video, this may well be the worst conclusion to any anime to grace my existence. Or close to. A lot was working against this third part, specifically the budget and storyboarder's inability to do his job. The pacing is quick where it should be slow, stretched where it should be shortened, and the animation is...
He just complained about the pacing being slow, and then when they speed it up, it's an issue? I don't understand what he wants, guys. I don't understand. But
it's only a step above records of Ragnarok at times. Don't try to defend it, boys. That show is a joke. A lot of people also launch criticism of the show's overall story, and I'll be the first to say that's probably justified. But come on now. You have to admit, this is pretty cool. Let's not pretend we don't like shows that have overly complicated plot elements that follow no rhyme or reason. Her mom being a dragon, though... Well, one of my biggest gripes about the final season is the super hyped up battle of Natsu and Gray. Obviously
now, before he starts, I'm gonna agree. The fight was a letdown. I'm not gonna cap. And they could have made this fight on a level of Naruto. They could have made this fight really amazing, but they didn't put that much time in it. They didn't make it more. They missed on this fight. I'm gonna keep it a buck. As a Fairy Tail #1 lover, they missed on Natsu vs. Gray.
Going for a Naruto Sasuke dynamic with a cherry on top of a brother versus brother fight. That is if it didn't fall on his face so goddamn hard. It's actually more sad than angry. The fight consisted of several minutes of classic Fairy Tail freeze frame zoom-ins on the goobers announcing their special demon magic moves, and after several minutes of torture, Erza steps in to ease our suffering by somehow tanking their super demon magic with her bare hands, no problem. This is not explained later. The worst part was this had all the potential to be one of their best fight sequences of the show, but instead the budget money for it must have magically disappeared in the purchase of a few new executive cars. There are a lot of examples we could list of fight sequences that lack this kind of range of motion, opting for a more budget-friendly route of zoom-in frames, but I'd just be reiterating myself if we were to talk about this more. They're all the same, you get the idea. It's just really sad to see a series that could have been something really cool flop just because they didn't use the source material to its full potential, whether due to budget problems or shitty animation choices, I don't really know. Most likely both. I've talked mostly about production issues up to this point and their poor choices, but I'd like to take a step back from that and peek a little more into the wrongs that were brought upon by the story itself. Me personally, most of my criticisms come from production side of things, but there's still a lot of people who dislike the wonderful...
Well, if he's complaining mostly about the production of the shit, right, and how it's productive, if you're a manga reader, everything he's saying right now, besides the power of friendship stuff, it wouldn't bother you, you feel me?
Fairy Tail story. I've mentioned the inflated power of friendship and the very odd character situations that seem kind of shooed in last minute. Plot holes are one thing. Those tend to be bad, but everyone likes a good twist to their story. Sometimes when you have no basis for it though, it kind of comes off as forced. This old fart being this guy's son is kind of random, but hey, still cool. This guy being from the future due to some magical hoo-ha sending him here is never explained, but still kind of cool. This immortal villain having the hots for the dead fairy girl that everyone can see because of plot logic, but he can never be with her due to some magical curse, which is the sole reason for waging war against the entire world. Might be starting to stretch it a little here. And to reiterate once more for good measure, this lady is actually a dragon somehow, and also this girl's mom. I gotta draw the line somewhere, and we're gonna put it here. I want you to keep in mind as we reach our conclusion here today that Fairy Tail isn't as bad as some people make it out to be. It's not the worst thing out there. You could be watching X-Arm or something. A major factor that goes into the complaints in my eyes is that there could have been something great here. And when I say great, I mean Naruto level great, you know, middle of the line great. It had the elements that it needed to become a unique shonen anime. The execution of this, though, really underwhelmed. Alas, this Fairy Tail they ironically called Fairy Tail is not yet over. Instead of giving us a definite conclusion after 545 chapters, Mashima decided to launch a new continuum, the 100-year quest, because that's how long they're gonna milk this cow before it keels over. Check Patreon.
Bruh, I ain't gonna lie, he kind of missed on this. I ain't gonna lie, he was not cooking. The only time he cooked was in Natsu and Great Fight, and his most complaints is about production issues. But honestly though, I think Fizz is a great anime, you feel me? If you haven't watched it, go watch it, it's lit, you feel me? But he just kind of missed on this whole bit, I'm not gonna cap.